thinking about a bagel can help you get through the worst day of your life. Hi everybody, I'm Dr. David Perrodin, and it's my honor to be delivering this keynote presentation to you today. This bagel smells terrific. Can't wait to eat it, but first I need to talk about it because it's part of this presentation. The bagel. This represents similarity. We're going to use it to talk about daily life. We get up in the morning, top of the bagel. We eat breakfast, pick out our clothes for the day, commute to work. Maybe that commute right now is just down the hallway to our laptop. Eat supper, watch Netflix, get ready for bed, sleep, and here we are back at the top of the bagel. So we work through the bagel every day. We expect that today will be similar to yesterday, that tomorrow will be similar to today. And that typically worked out pretty well for Western civilization for the last 70 years, but it's different right now, right? With the pandemic, with civil unrest, we are in an extended period of chaos. We're no longer in the self-similarity zone. We're not dealing with bagels. We've left the bagel. We're outside of the crust of the bagel over here in chaos. Now, we've been there before, right? Maybe there's a power outage. It's taken us outside of the crust of our bagel. We've been in a car accident. A tree has fallen on our house, whatever it is. It gets us outside of our bagel. And then we typically find a way to return to that self-similarity, to restore. But right now, it's different. Right now, we've been in this chaos zone. We've been out of self-similarity for more than 90 days. And that's important. 90 days, David. Why? What does this 90 days have to do with anything? In World War II, military psychiatrist Dr. John Apple was studying troops to figure out basically how long troops would survive on the front lines. And he came up with this term, finite voltage. And finite voltage just meant there was a certain amount of time troops could be on the front line before they would either be killed, captured, or have a mental collapse. Now it's interesting because there were parallel studies that were conducted on civilian populations all over the world. How long could civilians endure during times of extended chaos? Now, this is interesting for the fact that we don't have a lot of research data on this. Again, we've had a relatively calm 70 years. We've had a lot of self-similarity. Our bagel has looked the same from one day to another. But let's talk about that finite voltage, that 90 days. So what happens? What do we start seeing in civilians at 90 days? What do we know? Well, a few things. One is there's a fear and there's a worry about our own health and also the health of our loved ones. We worry about our jobs. We worry about the support services that we rely on. Is the hospital going to be open? Are we going to be able to access it? Is the bank going to be open? Are we going to be able to get money? How about the restaurants that we go to? Oh my goodness, how about the grocery stores? Are they going to be open? Are they going to shut down? We didn't know, right? We worry about these things. Changes in sleep and eating patterns start to manifest. A hard time concentrating. Anxiety, depression, aggressive behavior, road rage. People have told me they've engaged in beeping the horn and they're like, I'm not that type of person, David. It's just right now, I am so stressed by being in chaos for so long. And I get it. I get it. We've all been there. You've been there. Your family members, your coworkers. Think about this. Your students are experiencing this. They haven't been able to go to the places that they like to go to, the playgrounds, the parks, other amusement activities, just visiting family members. All of that's been changed for them. And of course, your families. But we've worked the problem, right? We've worked the problem very well in schools with what we've had. We figured out how to get kids lunches that they could no longer get because the schools were closed. We figured out how to get them devices and to set up Wi-Fi and to suddenly take our classrooms and transform them into remote learning centers and ourselves learn how to do this and balance our own lives at the same time. We've adjusted very well into this chaos, but still, we don't expect to be in this 90 plus ongoing days, and we're not sure when it's going to end. So there's something else that's happening, right? Let's think about our vocabulary. PPE, flatten the curve, social distance. I never heard of these terms before this year, and I certainly wasn't using them as part of my everyday lexicon, but we are now. All these new terms that we've had to learn, that we've had to apply, represent a change. This wouldn't happen after a short-term chaos event if we're just outside of our bagel for a little bit. We're not going to be all of these new terms, all of that type of stuff. So that's another marker that we are in a very prolonged period of chaos. So there's something else, though. Something else. What did we do the first week of the pandemic closures, the safer at home orders, right around the middle of March? We went to the store. We got soup. We got sanitizers. We got hand sanitizers. And it seemed like nobody could get enough of this, right? Toilet paper. It's still only on part of the shelves in the stores that I go to. So scarcity buying, it's a mindset when we get into chaos events. Typically that shows up for the first few days, maybe a week into chaos. And then things have a way, the supply chain and things kind of settle down. That's the way it usually works in chaos events. Think about, a severe weather event, a wildfire, something impacting your area. You've been through this before. We've all been through those types of things before, but not this prolonged event. So all of those things were purchased. A lot of them still aren't on the shelf. And then something else happened. So we had finite voltage, right? That's a term we want to remember. Finite voltage, meaning at 90 days, civilians start to become very, very stressed in a chaos situation. And you can use finite voltage to describe it to your coworkers, to parents, to students. This is normal. So now we have a way to label it, a way to identify it. I've felt this way, David. People have told me I felt this way. I didn't know what it was. Oh, I didn't know that there was this condition of finite voltage once you get 90 days into chaos. So yeah, we're there. We're there. Something else is happening though. It is called crowd in behavior. Crowd in behavior. This manifests in how people are changing their purchasing habits. Instead of buying the things down below, they're now buying sporting goods. They're buying interior paint. They're buying sewing machines. A number of other things that typically you wouldn't buy at the start of a chaos event. So why? Why are people buying these things? Why is it impossible to find video game systems even if you're going onto Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace? Why are these things gone? They're gone because when people enter a crowd-in mentality, they believe they're going to be in chaos for a long time. Weeks, months, maybe years. They're not sure. They don't know when this is going to end. So they start to surround themselves with items that make them feel comfortable. And this is adults. It's also children. Things that make them feel comfortable. So that's why we see the purchases that we do, and we go down the aisle of the store and wonder, where did all the paint go? It's because of crowd-in behavior. Is there anything we can do to disrupt finite voltage, to help people who are in crowd-in behavior, who are very nervous right now, who are out in chaos, and they're spinning around in chaos and they want to get closer to this bagel? Yes, yeah. There are things that we can do. The first thing, change things up every 30 days. Okay? Change things up every 30 days. Very overtly, it's a new campaign. It's a new lesson, a new initiative. Think of it this way. Maybe right now we are going to spend 30 days on awareness activities, being aware of our environment, what is happening around us, how to document that. So that's an activity. Maybe we're going to focus on our food supply. We're going to grow things for 30 days. We're going to learn about that. If it's a cold weather climate, you can take a bin and put some soil in it and grow things inside. We can do stuff. So that's a key point. Every 30 days to change things up. We know that people respond to that very well when they're under stress. They believe it is a marker that something has changed and they've taken a step closer to the bagel. They've gotten closer to the bagel. So it's very helpful to change things up every 30 days. So think about that when you're working with your students. The second thing, use the term I observed. I observed this when I went to the store today. I observed this when I walked past the school. When you say I observed, it's ownership. And it authenticates information because you've observed it. Now that's much different than what we're used to, which is they said this. And when we think about the media, there's so much information out there with the media, and a lot of it isn't even local. It can overwhelm people. It usually doesn't help people. So immediately start saying I observed. Teach your students to say I observed. People will recognize it. When you say I observed, people take note of that and they start to mirror that behavior back to you. And what it does is it verifies information, and the second thing, it gives people a sense of control over themselves and their environment. I observed. Here's the third thing, crowd in behavior. Remember, surrounding ourselves with things that make us feel comfortable, that make us feel happy right now in a time of chaos, which is very unpredictable and scary. So what have we done in classrooms? We've cleared them out, gotten rid of a lot of the things, the beanbag chair in the corner where we go and read a book. All of that stuff is gone because we have social distancing. We want to have fewer things in classrooms, so it's easier to sanitize a classroom. But we have to make sure that we recognize crowd-in behavior. We recognize that staff, that students need some things that are just there solely to make them comfortable. Here's an idea. This is a resealable plastic bag, easy to wipe down, easy to clean. I've got my name on it. Inside is a Wreck-It Ralph figurine from the movie Wreck-It Ralph. I'm gonna wreck it! So if I was an elementary student and I could bring in my bag with one or two comfort items inside of it, wow, that makes me feel better. And imagine, you staff member two, a few things that you bring in just solely for comfort, okay? That has a powerful psychological impact to surround yourself with a few comfort items. Even during remote learning, to have them present that conveys that you're recognizing that we need to surround ourselves with some comfort items right now. It's all about the bagel, folks. Similarity. Right now, we're in this chaos area, but we are working step by step back into similarity, and we'll get there. I wish you the very best for your start of the school year. It's been my privilege to deliver this keynote presentation. Thank you, everybody.